Hello everyone and welcome to Daria Draws. Today I'm making my favorite kind of video, I hope it is yours too, where I remake my old artworks 10 or 15 years later. I don't only make those videos to raise my self-esteem of course, but also to prove that the themes in my paintings are truly timeless and I can still relate to them today. So without further ado, let's begin remaking this old portrait. So let's have a look at this crusty piece. I do like the idea and the message behind it, which I will talk about later in the video. But right now, let's just focus on remaking it aesthetically wise. Since I'm not going to change the idea or the color scheme, I'm prepping the colors that would somewhat resemble the colors that are there now, but I will need to clean up the painting quite a lot and fix certain mistakes. Position-wise, I am going to keep the portrait the same, but the way it is going to be done will be drastically different. Since there is a lot of black anyway in the painting, I am starting to redraw with black and dark browns on top of the existing artwork. And of course I'm changing everything from the hair to the structure of the face and widening the neck a little bit. I do love a good aesthetic deformation. I think it adds more to the character and it's just something that looks a little bit off, but it's also something that attracts you as a viewer, rather than if all the proportions were perfectly correct. For the first repainting, recovering layer, I'm choosing this weird tan color, which is a little plasticky Barbie-ish, but it is of course going to be transformed later into actual skin tones. I just need something very plain, very clean, something I can build the shapes with. I could have started with the colder colors, but I feel like starting with warmer and then moving towards the colder colors is just a better way to go. I'm being absolutely ruthless and chopping off everything that I don't need and covering it in black just so that it gets out of the way and I can see the shapes a little clearer and I can actually work on the things that are correct after I've chopped everything else off. I like the idea of a dark background, but I feel like making it even darker would make the painting more dramatic and convey the message even better. After I'm done with sort of redoing the silhouette, I'm starting to work inside of it, which means I need to make a new structure for the face and for the body, as well as the hair. I still want the facial expression to be the same, sort of melancholic, and I am going to obviously stay with that mood, but in terms of structures, I want it to be just a little bit more realistic and look like an actual person like this could exist. I am also lowering the neckline of the dress just because I want that tunnel to be sort of carved into the body and I don't want it to be like a print on a t-shirt and look like a pocket or something. I want it to be a very realistic feeling and I want to show the depth. As you can see, I'm starting off with very wide brush strokes and I'm not really putting in any detail. I want everything to be very soft and united. So I'm not trying to just break down each little detail like into different structures. It's just all kind of coming together, I guess. Also, I'm removing that colorful box and making it moodier and darker. Well, the painting itself is called Empty Tunnel, so as I guess it's quite obvious that the painting is very sad, and like she doesn't have anything to fill that void in her heart, in her soul. And that's pretty much how I've been feeling during my teenage years, no matter what I did or what hobbies I picked up. And that's kind of still how I'm feeling now. I guess it's just a never-ending existential crisis. For the next session, I picked a more muted palette to make it just a little more realistic. We are getting away from those weird plastic colors and moving towards the real thing. As you can see, the skin tone is getting a lot cooler, and I feel like it complements the background a little better because the background is just like pitch black and it's very cold. So having skin that's overly warm could work in certain cases, but I feel like it doesn't really go with the overall message and the mood of the painting. Here you can see certain details getting just a little bit sharper, like you can see now the structure and the neck and the collarbones a little bit, and the face. Now there are some eyes and the cheekbones. So just slowly I'm starting to work with the planes of the face and the body and just kind of separating each shape from the other, but I need to do it very softly so that it still looks like one human being and not just like separate details just glued together. At first I wanted to go with her old hair color and keep it very platinum blonde, but it still kind of looks like a wig and I didn't really like that, so you will see how I changed that a bit later. But for now I am carving out the silhouette with even darker black. It is more dense, it is not as transparent as the first layer of the background was, so that you can really feel that gloomy surrounding, and it's very dark and dramatic. Now to kind of marry the two elements, which is the figure and the background, I need to soften up the edges, especially around the hair, because it's just a very smooth and very light texture. Now I'm enhancing all of the contrasts, so I'm adding a little more highlights and lights in general, and leaving the shadows to be glazed later on. And if the face and neck had a little bit of certain skin colors before, the neckline did not. It was fully covered in black, so I have to work a little extra hard to build that skin color and the skin texture, and to actually make it look a little more cohesive with the head. At this point, I am realizing that something is wrong with the hair and it looks like a blonde wig, and I'm trying to add a little bit of dimension into it, but yeah, it's just not working out. I really wanted to save the blonde hair, but it just didn't work for me, and even kind of cutting it through with some background color didn't help either. So now I'm working on the top of the head to make it look a little more realistic, because nobody's hair is just smooth and round on top, especially. Like, it grows from your head, so there is of course a little more shadow and a little bit of movement into different directions, especially when you have bangs. So I try to kind of make an interpretation on that, and of course darkening the roots a little bit did help with the overall dimension. So now I'm just starting to work on the details. As you can see, the facial features are coming along. So each shape, like the eye and the lips and the nose, is starting to have its own little shadow, its own little details, and everything is becoming just a little sharper. But at one point I understood that I don't want to have a lot of those black outlines, especially in the face. I would rather have a much smoother and a much softer sort of details in the face, and then have this pitch black background. I wanted also the tunnel to have this illusion that it really is a tunnel and it's quite long, but it has that little spark of light at the end. Once the painting dried up, I of course glazed it, especially in the shadow areas and the hair, just so that the hair becomes a little more natural on kind of a darker blonde side. And then the real work with the details began. I wanted everything to be very sharp but also look very natural, so I was escaping the black background colors in the figure itself, and I wanted to make it a little more smooth and a little more rounded, but also have some sharp edges, like in the freckles and the eyes a little bit, even certain hairs in the eyebrows. I guess this is the part where you see the least changes during the process, but I took some pictures, and the before and after of this session were incredible, because the power of detail is just unbelievable, and the things that you can do to make your painting look just a level up are very small and very simple, or so they seem to be, but I feel like they're quite necessary if you really want to step up your game. But of course, before you go into details, you have to make sure everything is done right and all of the main shapes are done right and to your liking. Otherwise, the details will really not matter if everything else is crumbling down. So here I'm making all of the shadows just a little bit softer and a little less dramatic. Of course, there's still quite a lot of contrast, but I don't want to use any of the blacks, as I said, in the face and the neck and the décolleté area. So I want everything to have a very polished finish, and even the body, I want it to have shape, I want it to have definition, but in a very soft way. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you have enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up or leave an encouraging comment. And if you would like to stay tuned for more videos, you can simply subscribe to my channel. Or if you would like to see more videos right now, you can click on either of those and do that. And I'll see you in the next one.